What is up, guys? Stark here. I am back for another Fate video, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at 10 3-star below servants that I think are really good and really usable in the game. Now, these servants aren't in any particular order, they're just going to be 10 servants that I'm going to be talking about. So like the number 10 servant's not like the 10th best, or the number 1 servant's not necessarily the best out there, and there could definitely be other servants out there that you guys prefer. Pretty much, I say this a lot, pretty much every character in Fate is very good and very usable. Just depends on your team compositions and things like that. But yeah, so for me, I'm just going to go ahead and list 10 3-star below servants that I think are really good, and characters that you should kind of put some attention to and look out for. So first up, we're going to talk about the OG Lancer, Kukun, one of the unluckiest servants in the anime, but ironically, he is one of the hardest servants to kill in the game. He's a very popular servant, and not just because of his character, but because of like his skills and stuff. He's actually really good. Probably one of the best characters as a 3-star character, and a lot of people do grail him up, so he is actually viable as like a 4-star, 5-star character stat-wise and stuff like that, and just makes it even better. He has a gut skill, so he can come back to life. He has evasion. He can heal himself. He's pretty much just a cockroach, and very difficult to kill. And he's, he usually goes in a lot of backlines. So like the last character comes out and really hard to kill, and sometimes he can go ahead and finish off the fights. And sometimes people use him for like solos and stuff too, because he is actually pretty good at that. So if you like grail him up, you could potentially solo with him and stuff like that. He does get a buff to his gut skill, which is actually really nice. So normally it's just a guts, that's all it does, but it gets buffed later on next year, technically next year. It'll give you an attack boost as well based on your HP remaining for 3 turns. So, the lower your HP, the more attack you'll actually end up getting. So it's really, really good. So I think it's like a 30% attack increase or something like that. Overall, really good. Just overall really hard character to kill, really defensive character, really popular character. His Noble Phantasm's really good as well. He gets sure hit on his attack. He has a chance to cause instant death on the enemy. Typically that's not going to go ahead and trigger too much against some bosses because they're pretty resistant to instant death. But it does a really good amount of damage, reduces the enemy's defense, applies sure hit as well, so you're going to make sure that you get that hit off. And he is a 3-star character. You're going to be very easy to get Noble Phantasm leveled up. So you do have really high percentages for your overall damage. So just really good character in my opinion. Next up we have Paracel, who is a caster, 3-star caster. He is an arts-oriented servant, and you guys are going to start seeing him a lot more than you might have already. He is really good right now, but he's going to get significantly better with the addition of Caster Artoria, who is an arts-oriented servant. Arts will become the meta very quickly as soon as she comes out, and he just is a really good support character. So he has the ability to increase arts cards effectiveness for all of your allies for 3 turns, which again is really nice if you're going to be using arts teams. And then he also does have his 3rd skill, which will apply guts to an ally, which is good, keeping him alive, but it'll also increase the MP gain for that ally for 3 turns, and that's a 50% increase to your NP gain for 3 turns, so you're going to be able to get him in there for your looping teams. Just having a massive increase to your Noble Phantasm gain is going to be very helpful, and it's not just one time, it is for 3 turns, like I said, so very, very good overall. In addition to that, he does have a AoE Noble Phantasm, and he can also decrease the attack of the enemies, and he does have a very good Noble Phantasm battery at 80% at level 10, so pretty much you're going to be able to, theoretically, you could loop with him if you really wanted to. Now, he's not really going to hit that hard for his Noble Phantasm, but, arts, throw him with double Caster Artoria, you could theoretically loop with Paracelsus, and, the damage's a little lacking, but I'm sure you could do something about that with Caster Artoria, buffing up everything like that. So, yeah, overall, really good character. I definitely think you guys should be leveling him up. If you haven't already, definitely level him up for the anniversary for when Caster Artoria comes around. This guy's going to be seeing a lot more play. Next up, we have Yuri, who is basically going to be the male killer in Fate Grand Order. That's pretty much all she's good for. So if you're going up against a male enemy, preferably a, like one enemy boss, as a male, you're going to just bring her in and you're going to absolutely annihilate this guy. She is pretty much geared towards beating male characters. She does have a charm as well, so that she could stun the male characters. She can decrease the gauge of those characters and then also increase her own gauge as well. So she has a drain and a battery in the same skill. Also going to be able to increase her own arts card effectiveness. So, you know, you could definitely combo her with Caster Artoria as well with her Arts Noble Phantasm. That will deal a really good amount of damage to a single enemy. And if that enemy is a male, you're going to do even more. And if that male does survive, or if it's not a male, if you're using it on a female, which I don't recommend, but if that enemy does survive, they're going to get a decrease to their attack for 3 turns. And then you're also going to apply Charm to them more than likely, you know, with a 200% chance at max. Even if it's not max, even if you're not doing the overcharge, 100% chance. Pretty good chance of stunning that enemy. So yeah, just really good damage, and then you just throw on an extra 250% attack onto that damage. Pretty much going to just decimate any male that you come up against. So next up, we have Hans, who is going to be a 2-star caster, another really good support character in my opinion. He does get a rank up quest, which will upgrade his 3rd skill, which makes him a lot better than he used to be. But still, he's really good in his own right, being able to increase the critical strength of all allies for 3 turns, and that's a pretty good percentage as well. You get 40%. Unfortunately, that's the only part of, or that's the only effect of the skill, but it's still really good. He does have an MP battery as well at 75%. Also really good, but his 3rd skill is really what I'm talking about here, with the gaining critical stars every turn for 3 turns, so you're going to get 15 stars every turn. Also going to get the MP gauge filled every turn for 3 turns as well. Now this is just for one ally, it's 10%, but still, it's really good to help, you know, kind of keep their Noble Phantasms going. His Noble Phantasm is also very good, and, you know, it does have an upgrade, so if you haven't upgraded it already, please go ahead and do so. So essentially what it's going to do, and there's a lot here, so you have a random chance to increase attack, defense for all of your allies for 3 turns. So they're 2 separate effects, so one could actually trigger and the other one could fail. You're also going to heal all of your allies every turn for 3 turns, and that's a guaranteed effect, so that's going to happen. Then you also have a random chance to increase your critical star drop rate for all allies. What was that? A random chance to increase critical star drop rate for all allies for 3 turns. I almost screwed that up again. Just can't say all allies, I guess. Anyway, there's a whole lot there. His Noble Phantasm's really crazy, actually. So 40% increase if he maxes out completely with the overcharge. You get to 40% for attack, defense, star rate, and 3000 HP for the heal every turn. It won't be too difficult to get his level up, so you can get that overcharge threshold. So you're going to have to combo with some other Noble Phantasms. But still, at the end of the day, even if you're just doing it at level 1 or 100%, you're going to get 20% across the board, 1000 HP per turn. And he does have a battery there as well. So if you did need to go ahead and, you know, use it again, you could just go ahead and use it again. Pretty good overall support character. Alright, so next up we have Antonio Salieri. So as you guys can see here, this is another theme, I guess, with these characters. Another arts-oriented servant who's going to be very, very good once Caster Artoria drops. Until then, though, he's still a pretty good character, being able to gain critical stars every turn for 3 turns, as well as increasing his own critical strength for 3 times over the course of 5 turns. And that's pretty nice because you do have a 5-turn cooldown, so, you know, this skill could essentially end you use the next turn. 30% increase to your critical damage and 10 stars every turn for those 3 turns. You also do have a skill to increase your own arts card effectiveness up to 30% at max level. Again, this is going to be 3 times over the course of 5 turns. So again, you could theoretically use it, and the next turn use the skill again. So very nice. And then his final skill will also decrease the defense for a single enemy 3 times over the course of 5 turns. It does have an upgrade, but we will not be getting that next year. Excuse me. It'll actually increase his own critical star gather rate and critical strength as well. It's a really nice upgrade when he does get it, but we will not be getting that for quite a while. Although NA has done some different things and we have gotten some upgrades earlier than we were expected to. So if he does get this, it's going to be a significant boost to his skills. And then overall for his Noble Phantasm, just going to do some really good damage and decrease the critical star drop rate for all of your allies by 20% for 3 turns. So that's a little unfortunate. You know, you're not going to get as many stars, but you're going to do some pretty good damage on the flip side of that. And then the overcharge effect will decrease the arch resistance for all enemies for 3 turns. So you're going to basically make them a little bit squishier for arch damage dealers. So that's really what you're going for there. Again, Caster Artoria coming in with those arts meta teams, he'll be a pretty good option. Alright, next up we have Spartacus, who is not a character that I've ever personally used. But he has actually, you know, he's come a long way since the beginning of the game. And he's got a couple upgrades to his skills. And now he's pretty good. So he does have a lot of healing in his kit, like a lot of healing. He's really difficult to kill. So his first skill, he'll recover 1500 HP every turn for 5 turns, which is pretty nuts if you ask me. And then he does have a Guts as well, including an MP battery. So you're going to be able to keep going back and then increase your battery at the same time. And then his third skill will increase his Buster Card effectiveness for a really big burst turn. And then he's also going to heal himself again. So he'll be able to heal for 2000 on third skill. So you guys can see here, he's just going to be pretty much a tank that just keeps healing himself. He just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And then if you do end up dying, you have the gut skill to bring him back. In addition to that, he does have a very powerful Noble Phantasm that will deal AoE damage that ignores defense, which is really nice. And then he's also going to heal himself again. So at base, it's going to be 4,000. Max is going to be 8,000, which is pretty nuts considering he's a 1-star servant. So yeah, so he doesn't even go up to 1,000 or 8,000 HP. So you'd have to you could literally heal him back to max HP by using his Noble Phantasm. Now it does have to be max overcharged, which again could be a little difficult to pull off. But even if you don't, 4,000 HP comboed it up with his first skill, so you're already looking at 5,500 HP, and he has 7,700 max HP. So you're pretty much just gonna, the guy's just gonna keep coming back to life. He's gonna be so hard to kill, and he's gonna do some pretty good damage as well. Now busters aren't really as powerful going forward, but you know, just slap on Merlin there or Tamamo when she comes out, and then you know, you're just gonna be doing some pretty crazy things with this guy. And actually, I think I might start using him, just playing around with him a little bit. So from one buster AoE servant to another, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at Paul Bunyan. So Paul Bunyan is kind of I don't know, I guess maybe it's just the way I'm looking at it, but I feel like Paul Bunyan might be somewhat considered a joke character because they come out during 4th of July and stuff, and they're a 1-star servant. But really don't sleep on these 1-star servants because Paul is pretty good as well, being able to do some really good damage and very helpful as a support character as well. Their first skill is able to increase Buster Card effectiveness for all of your allies for 3 turns at 20%, also increasing their critical strength. Second skill will be a good heal for all allies. Third skill will decrease defense for all of the enemies, as well as decreasing the HP recovery amount for all enemies for 5 turns. I don't think that one's too much of a big deal there, but the defense is certainly pretty awesome. And then their Noble Phantasm is a pretty solid, pretty powerful buster AoE that does some pretty good damage and also further decreases the defense. So just go ahead, you just think about that, combo Paul with Spartacus and just seriously decreasing the defense while increasing the attack and healing. Just going to be some pretty good damage there with a couple of 1-star characters. So next up we have Sclepius, who is a 3-star caster. Not a character, again, not a character that I've personally used, but pretty interesting character in my opinion after looking at his skills. He is a doctor, so naturally he does have a healing skill. So his first skill will restore HP for the ally and also increase their debuff resistance for 3 turns. 5,000 HP heal is pretty good on a 5-turn charge time, so you should be able to recycle that pretty often. Second skill will be able to inflict Noble Phantasm seal and increase the Noble Phantasm gain of all of your allies. So get a pretty solid Noble Phantasm gain there at 30%, and being able to seal the enemy's Noble Phantasm is really nice. And then his final skill will increase the Noble Phantasm gauge of all allies by 20% and also remove all debuffs. So that's really nice. Having the ability to just completely clear all of the debuffs from your entire team is really nice. And also getting a battery at the same time just helps fuel your Noble Phantasms pretty quickly. And then his Noble Phantasm is also really nice, being able to apply Guts to all of your allies except himself, and debuff immunity as well. So it's pretty nice there. And then on the overcharge, you do get another set of heals for 3 turns. So 1000 HP every turn for 3 turns. It's not crazy, but it is pretty good. The only big drawback here is that he is story locked, so he might not be as easy to get MP level 5. But if you're looking for Noble Phantasm gain and like heals and support and stuff, or debuff clearing, this is your guy. Probably a little bit lower on the list if we were gonna rank them overall, but still a pretty good shout out in my opinion. All right, so these last 2 here are gonna be probably the ones you guys were thinking when you saw the title of this video, but we're just gonna go ahead and talk about them first. First, we're gonna talk about the one that has been out for a long time. So if you're not familiar with a Rash at this point in time, why are you playing Fate Grand Order? Unless you're new, of course, and if you're new, then that's, you know, okay. This is what this video is for, to help you out. So a Rash is a 1-star archer. So again, we're looking at 1-star characters here, and again, this character is going to be pretty much insane. He is going to be your wave clearing, buster, AoE damage dealer. He's so good, and he's so easy to use. He's like very, very low maintenance. The best part about this character, in my opinion, is that he kills himself, and you might think that's really strange, but he opens up so many different like possibilities for teams and stuff like that. So he AoE clears the entire, well, he does AoE damage for a Noble Phantasm, and more often than not, he'll be able to clear wave 1 of the enemy waves, right? So you're basically going to get wave 1 out of the way. And then that opens up the possibility for a lot of different combinations for teams. Maybe you don't have Scotty, so you can't double Scotty, but you could take a friend Scotty in, and then you're good to go. So you just need 2 waves, and then you could do 2 waves with a Rash. He basically takes 1 wave out of the entire fight, and that's why he's so good. You just bring him on, use his Noble Phantasm, he kills himself so you can bring out someone else, and he clears the first wave of the fight. And overall, he's just really good. His skills aren't really that great. His 3rd skill is what you're going to want to be using to be able to get that MP battery in order to get your Noble Phantasm off. But yeah, it's just his Noble Phantasm does so much damage. It's just so good. And then finally, we have the new 2-star caster Chen Gong, who is pretty much the exact same as Rash, except he is like an inverse version. Instead of killing himself, he'll kill an ally. So whoever's at the front of your team will be the one that nuked with his Noble Phantasm. He'll just go ahead and do an AoE hit for the entire enemy team, and he'll kill the first guy in your party. That could be very useful in order to bring up backline allies and stuff like that. But it's going to do some really good damage. It's an Arts Noble Phantasm as well, so you know, Caster Artoria, stuff like that. Any other Arts team, you can go ahead and loop in there pretty well. But he does have more use outside of that. He is a caster, so he does have a pretty good set of support skills. So he can actually apply target focus to an ally. This definitely combos in with his Noble Phantasm. You can go ahead and use the first skill on the first person on your team, and then have them take some damage, and then go ahead and fire a Noble Phantasm, kill that person, because they're already low on HP anyway. So it's a really nice combo there. His 2nd skill will be able to decrease or increase the defense for all of your allies, apply damage cut to all allies, and increase Noble Phantasm gauge for all allies by 10%. Kind of like a mini waiver, if you will. And then his 3rd skill is going to increase Buster Card effectiveness for 1 ally, increase the critical strength for 1 Berserker ally, and also increase the Noble Phantasm, increase the max HP for 1 ally for 1 turn. So kind of like a mini Merlin, I guess, so to speak. But it's going to do some really good damage. So you get a 50% increase to your Buster Card effectiveness, and then 100% increase to your critical strength if they are a Berserker ally, and then increasing their max HP by 3,000. So again, think about this, combo him with Spartacus, so get a 50% increase to your Buster damage, 100% increase to your critical strength, and then also get to heal, or increase their HP by 3,000. Combo that up with his heals and Spartacus's heals, and you just, you know, like I said, it's going to be a bit of a tank. So that's it, guys. Those are 10 3-star and below servants that I think are pretty good. I know I kind of blitzed through this video pretty quickly, but you know, I do close at work today, so I did have to kind of scramble to get something going. I would have liked to have done like a proper tier list, and maybe I still will, do a tier list of all the 3-star and below servants in the game. I might actually do that, but these are 10 3-star and below servants to definitely keep your eye on, and if you're not using them, you should definitely be leveling them up and start using them, especially getting ready for Caster Artoria. So for now, guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I do have the links to my Patreon, Twitch, and Twitter. I said that in the complete wrong order there. I'm so used to saying it in a different order. But definitely the links below are there. So feel free to check those out. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next episode of the 25 Days of Fate.